morning. So today, exercise with Exos. It is June. It's a new month, and June is summertime. So we're gonna start summer today. We're gonna do 3 rounds. We're gonna do 45-15. So I know we did 50-10 yesterday. So back to 45-15 today. Um, I'm gonna go ahead real quick with demos. We don't need any equipment. We will be on the ground. So you need enough space to be like laying down from your head to your toes. That's it. So I'm going to go ahead real quick with demos and then we'll get right into it. So first off, our S, we're going to do some Supermans here on the ground, working on our back and our glute strength. So laying flat on the ground, we're going to squeeze the glutes, lifting our arms all the way up off the ground and back down. So for this one, we can hold for a few seconds, really engaging our glutes and our back muscles and back down. So that's going to be our first movement. Then we're going to go ahead. We're going to stand on up. We're going to do duck unders for the U. So for this, we're going to act like we have a string kind of at shoulder height, maybe a little lower, or a bar, kind of like the limbo, I guess you could call it. But we're going to step out and duck under that string or bar. So we get a little bit of some squatting in, a little bit of some single leg strength as we push and stand back up. So that's going to be the U. And then we're gonna get back on the ground. For the first M, we're gonna march for both of the M's. So the first M, we're gonna do a glute bridge march. So hips up towards the ceiling, keeping our core engaged. Exhale, one knee up at a time. We're gonna do our marches. Sorry, glute bridge marches. And I did this on purpose. We're gonna stand back up. Did a lot of up and down today on purpose, so we can work on that. So next up, regular marches. So opposite arm, opposite leg, making sure we're staying up nice and tall. If you would like to spice it up, feel free. You can skip. So if you want to skip here, you can do some skips, or you can do a nice slow march, or if you have a band, so that way you can work on your hip flexor strength. So all of those are acceptable under the march category. Then we're going to be back on the ground. So we're going to do eccentric push-ups next. So for this, hands and knees or hands and toes, we can either slowly lower and get back up however we need to, or we can slowly lower and push ourselves back up. It's whatever feels good for you today. And then finally back up to a standing position. We're going to do alternating reverse lunges with a pause here. So we're going to step back, knee is forward, chest over the arch of our front foot. And we're pausing and standing back up. So you can pause for as little as long as you'd like, but that is going to be our circuit for today. So let's go ahead and get started with our warm-up. World's greatest stretch is first. Interlace our fingers, grab onto one of our knees, pull our knee towards our chest. And we're going to step back, reverse lunge. Back leg stays nice and straight, hands coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg stays nice and straight. Nice big deep inhale. And exhale, rotating towards the ceiling, gazing past our hand. Thumb is facing behind us. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, putting our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. Breathing into our tight areas here. And we're going to go ahead and exhale. Bring your feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. All right, other leg coming on up. So same thing, interlace our fingers out onto the other leg, pulling our knees towards our chest. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, step back, reverse lunge. Hands coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg stays nice and straight. Nice big deep inhale. And exhaling, reaching up towards the ceiling, gazing past our hand. Thumb is facing behind us. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, plant our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. Breathing into our tight areas. We're going to go ahead and exhale. Bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. Awesome. All right. Next up, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of plank to pike, opening up our shoulders and our core here. So making our way onto the ground, hands and toes. Push our hips up into our pike or down dog position. And from here, we can start to pedal our heels. So let's go ahead, press one heel into the ground. And the other heel. And we're going to switch again. And switch again. For the last time. And then let's go ahead, try and plant both our heels into the ground, pushing our head in between our arms, opening up our upper back. And back to plank. We're going to do 3 quick ones here coming up. Back down. Coming on up. Back down. And last one coming up. And then we can go ahead back down to a plank. Make our way to our knees. We're getting ready to start off with Supermans. So we're starting off on the ground. Arms out in front. Over here. I'm going to get the timer going here. 3, 2, 1, and go. My knees just cracked. All right, so laying on the ground. Face down, arms out in front. Squeezing our glutes, lifting our arms and our head up off the ground. You can hold for a few seconds and then come back down. So working on our upper back strength, shoulder strength a little bit, our glute strength. Exhaling as we come up. We want to make sure we're not using our momentum. I like to exhale and then lift. So that way we're really using our muscles here, not momentum. 3, 2, 1. All right, standing on up. We have duck unders. Starting on one side. We're ducking like we're going under the imaginary rope next to us. 3, 2, 1. So we're starting on one side. We're stepping out and under. We do not have to step out super far. So if we're starting here, we don't have to lunge out or anything like that. Go your normal distance that you would squat. So I normally squat like this. I'm going to step out, squat under, pushing back. So we have a little bit more unilateral movement happening here. So as I step out, pushing off that leg, but standing up with my other leg. So we're getting a little bit of a dual purpose here. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right, on the ground. First M, glute bridge marches. And then we're going to stand up and do more marches or skips, whatever feels good to you. 3, 2, 1. Exhaling, driving our knees up one at a time. We really want to use our core, use our legs. Exhale. Our ribs are coming down and together as we drive one knee up at a time. Keeping our feet hip width. We want to make sure our feet stay here so that way we really activate our glutes rather than just use, like if our foot's in the middle, it's a little bit more stable. So we're going to try and use our glutes and our core. 3, 2, 1. All right. Standing on up. We're doing regular marches, or we can do slow, or we can skip. Whatever feels good. 3, 2, 1. So whatever we're doing, we really want our knees to come up about parallel with the ground, using our core. We're standing up straight. We're not dipping our chest towards our knee. The goal is not to get our knee as close to our chest as we can. It's to get our knee up as high as we can to be in that 90-90 position while using our core and our hip flexors. Again, if you would like to skip, feel free. You can double tap. That feels good. If you want to get a little bit more cardio. I did not put a whole lot of cardio in after the burpees yesterday, to be honest. I am super sore today. So 3, 2, 1. But I also did pre-plan to spell it summer the other day because I figured happy June. All right. Eccentric push-ups. Coming on up. 3, 2, 1. So we're either hands and knees or hands and toes. Screwing our hands into the ground so our upper back is nice and flat. We're coming down nice and slow. And you can either push yourself back up or you can get up however you need to. I really did try and just push myself back up and I was going nowhere. So I'm just going to lower myself nice and slow today. Making sure our chest and our hips hit the ground at the same time. So that way we're nice, slow, and controlled all the way down. 3, 2, 1. Only way I'm pushing myself back up if I'm on my knees. Okay, last up here, alternating reverse lunges for the R. Pausing at the bottom. 3, 2, 1. So we're stepping back, knee over second toe, chest over the arch of our front foot. We're pausing at the bottom. You can pause for anywhere for 1 to 3 seconds. You can even really do 5 if you want to push it. Or you can pulse instead of a pause, whatever feels good. So if you want to step back, do a little pulse. Feel free to do that. Or you can just step back, pause, and back up. So whatever feels good. Lots of lunges this week. We've now hit all types of lunges between yesterday and today. So yesterday we did do walking forward lunges and our moving lateral lunges and into reverse today. 3, 2, 1. All right. Round 1 is done. Starting back to the top, we got Supermans. On the ground, face down. 3, 2, 1. So coming up, pausing. You can pause again for as long as or as little as you like. Make it more challenging. Hold it a little longer. Not using momentum. So when we come down, we're not rocking back and forth or anything. I like to exhale as I come up so that way we really can use all of our muscles. Just like if we were squatting or doing push-ups, we want to exhale as we're exerting ourselves so we can really use our muscles and engage them. Focusing on mind to muscle connection. Where do we want to feel this? 3, 2, 1. All right. Standing on up, duck unders are next. Starting on one side of our space here. 3, 2, 1. So for this one, we really don't need to step, again, we don't need to step out that far. We don't need a whole lot of space. We're just stepping out. We want our feet to be as close to hip width as we can. That can help us with our depth here. So coming down a little bit lower. I know I personally can go lower in my squat versus when my feet are more hip width versus when they're wider. So if I step out nice and wide, that's as low as my hips are going. But if I step out to hip width or a little bit further, that's where we can get that depth here. So really using our glutes and our quads. And we're also getting our strength through each side of our foot here. 3, 2, 1. Kind of similar as our moving lateral lunges yesterday. All right. On the ground, on our backs. First M, glute bridge marches. 3, 2, 1. Lots of marches today, but remember we are exhaling, bringing our core together, driving our hips up towards the ceiling. Exhaling, one knee at a time, driving the other heel into the ground, but we're keeping our core engaged. Keeping our feet hip width apart. If you need to remind yourself to keep your feet hip width, you can always grab a lighter mini band. That can give us a little bit of extra emphasis on our hip flexors, which is always a good thing. But it will also remind us to keep the tension in the band in our starting position. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right. Coming up next, standing on up, we have regular marches, but you can also skip or get a band, whatever feels good. 3, 2, 1. All right. So get our knees up. One opposite arm, opposite leg. Using our core. We're using our core and our hip flexors here. Sitting up nice and tall. Again, double tapping in place. We would like to skip, get our heart rate up a little bit. Or you can go nice and slow, or just regular march. Or if you really want to spice it up, you can do a forward march. I know we usually march in place, but you know, spicing it up a little bit. 3, 2, 1. You can put whatever flavor you want on the workout today. All right, eccentric push-ups up next. Either hands and knees or hands and toes. 3, 2, 1. Actually, I feel like it's been a while since we've done eccentric push-ups. I feel like these are harder than they usually are. Again, I think it is 100% connected to how sore I am today. But we're lowering ourselves nice and slow. Hips and chest hit the ground at the same time. And we can either slowly lower, get back up wherever we need to, or we can slowly lower and push ourselves back up, depending on how we're feeling today. We're really trying to push yourself a little bit more each round. 3, 2, 1. All right. Awesome job. Next up, reverse lunges with a pause or pulse, whatever feels good. 3, 2, 1. So step back, pause. Again, the longer we pause, the harder we make it for ourselves. So picking however long you want to pause for. We want to just really try and challenge ourselves here. You can always grab weight if you would like. That is the way we challenge ourselves without adding more weight, is doing time under tension, which is going to be tempo, pulses, slow eccentric, slow concentric motion, just kind of making it a little bit more challenging, spending a little bit more time in the movement, putting a little bit more pressure on our muscles. 3, 2, 1. That is how we get better without adding weight. So last round here, coming on up, Supermans. 3, 2, 1. So again, however long or little as you would like. Squeeze your glutes. We should really feel this in our glutes for our lower body. We're going to feel it in our shoulders and our upper back for our upper body. You might feel your lower back working. And this is one of those movements where that is kind of expected. We just want to make sure we're not only using our low back to get up. So that's where really focusing, using our glutes. That's where that glute strength can come in with that low back pain and really make a difference here. Which is why I'm always doing a lot of squats and lunges for glute strength here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, duck unders. So starting on one side, going under our imaginary rope. 3, 2, 1. So again, not necessarily a baby step, but we're not stepping out super far. It is kind of like if we were doing a side step, mini band side steps or something. Our feet are coming back to that neutral hip width position. So we don't necessarily have to step all the way together. Out and back. If we're starting to feel comfortable, get a little bit faster here, but we're really working on a single leg strength, but also pushing off the inside of our one foot, which is always good for day-to-day movement. Great job. Finish strong. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're done with that for today. Back on the ground. Glute bridge marches. First M here. 3, 2, 1. So exhale. Rib cage comes down and together. Butt to belly button. Driving through our heels. We want to try and keep our hips from moving. Want our headlights on our hips. 2, align the ceiling. I think about what that was called for a second. I feel like I'm used to saying blind the floor by the camera. Great job. Finding our Goldilocks sweet spot with our feet too. If they're too far out, we're gonna feel it in our hamstrings. If they're too close, we're gonna feel it in our quads. We wanna get a nice placing here. 3, 2, 1. Okay, great job. Halfway done with our last round here. Lots of up and down off the ground today. We got marches here. 3, 2, 1. So again, we're either marching, we can skip. We're staying nice and tall. Our core is still pulled down and together. We're zipping our core up as we drive our knee up. I'm gonna try not to lean there like I just was on accident. But again, you can also skip. You can also go really slow if you really want to work on your hip flexor strength. Moving a little slower can help with that. So it's really up to y'all, whatever you want to work on today. Standing up nice and tall. Squeezing that orange between our shoulder blades. 3, 2, 1. Okay, done with those. Last 2 movements, we got eccentric push-ups and then our lunges. Now we're gonna cool down on the ground. We're gonna be on the ground for our cool down. 3, 2, 1. We are gonna do, for our cool down, we're gonna do some pretzel. Can never get enough. Can never get enough rotation. I know that sometimes is not really the only rotation, but some of the only rotation I get during the day. But rotation is super important for our day-to-day, as you know, walking, running, things like that take a lot of rotation through our torso. So really important that we do those things as often as we can. Finish strong. 3, 2, 1. All right, last movement here. Reverse lunges with a pause here. 3, 2, 1. Setting back. Pause. Driving back up. Okay, there we go. Lots of cracks. Driving through the heel big to little toe of our front foot. Finishing strong with today's workout here. First summer workout, even though it's technically not summer for another 20 days. We're almost at the longest day of the year, the best day of the year. 3, 2, 1. And that is going to be it for today's circuit. So go ahead, grab a sip of water if you need it. And we are going to be on the ground on our side for some. So taking our time here, we really want to work on slowing our breath, so making our exhales longer than our inhales as we are in our position. So on the ground, on our side, we have our checklist. Top leg comes up over across our body, bottom hand on top of our knee. Top hand grabs onto the bottom foot or ankle. We're going to inhale to prepare. And exhaling, opening up our top shoulder towards the ceiling. Breathing into our tight areas here. Like I said, making our exhales longer than our inhales. Really releasing all the tension and stress we feel built up in our bodies and even mentally. If you had a stressful day, stressful week, really just take a second, mentally reset, focus on your breath here. And one more breath here. And as we finish our exhale, we can go ahead, return back to our starting position. Then we're going to go ahead and make our way onto our other side for the same thing here. So once we're ready, we have the same checklist. So our top leg comes up, over, across our body. Knee and ankle stay on the ground. Bottom hand goes on top of our knee. Top hand grabs onto our bottom foot or ankle. We're going to inhale to prepare. And exhaling, bringing our top shoulder towards the ground. Letting your body relax into the position. Feeling the stretch all throughout our bodies. Again, taking a minute, releasing any stress, tension we feel in our muscles. And that can help us really relax, calm our mind, de-stress a little bit. Let's go ahead and do one more breath here. And as we finish our exhale, when we are ready, we can go ahead and gently release out of that and return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. But that is going to be all the time I have for us today. So great job, everyone. Thank you for joining me, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your week, a great weekend, and I'll see y'all in class next.